Yeah, I don't think Mother knew about this.
Uncle Marvin was strangled by his own beard.
Yeah, you never saw it coming. And you have found us, America's Family History Show, Extreme Genes, and extremegenes.com. My name is Fisher. I am your radio root sleuth on the program where we shake your family tree and watch the nuts fall out. This segment is brought to you by legacytree.com. And coming up later on the show today, some great guests, some great experts. One guy you've certainly come to know, Paul Woodbury from legacytree.com, to talk DNA, because this past week I sent out 3 Y-DNA chromosome tests for various cousins to try to work on certain lines. Now, if you don't know what that means, we'll explain some of that, but we're going to really focus on mitochondrial tests, and those are tests that follow down the female line. It's got some problems, so it may be perfect for Mother's Day, and then again, maybe not. You'll find out all about those coming up in about 8 minutes with Paul Woodbury. Then later in the show, we'll talk to another ordinary person with an extraordinary story about her big, fat Greek genealogy experience. You're going to love it. That's later in the show. But right now, let's head off to Beantown and talk to my friend David Allen Lambert, the chief genealogist of the New England Historic Genealogical Society and AmericanAncestors.org. You've been on the road for the last month, David. Where are you now?
Well, I'm in Beantown today, but next week I take off for the National Genealogical Society Conference in Raleigh, North Carolina from May 10th through 13th.
You are such a scholar. Who knew?
Well, come by the booth and find out yourself if I am. Look forward to always meeting our genies from Extreme Genes.
All right, David, let's find out what's happening with our family histoire news for today.
Well, this story comes from Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania, where John Lashinsky, while doing a Google search for his uncle Mike, who served in World War II, found a link to eBay. Now, on eBay, he found a letter from his uncle, but not just his uncle, from his father, 2 other uncles, and another relative, 65 letters in total.
Wow.
That he just found by dumb luck.
Well, I don't know that it's dumb luck when you got the internet anymore. You can find all kinds of stuff, and we've done entire segments talking about how you can use eBay to find heirlooms, but I don't think I've ever heard such an extreme edition of an eBay discovery as this one.
It's amazing. And for $283, he bought the letters, and now he has insight into his family's involvement in World War II. He said his father rarely talked about the war, so this is almost like, a gift that you would never expect to find.
Something like a journal almost.
It really is. And the day-by-day letters usually account, if they weren't censored to death, they're usually pretty detailed as to where people have been in troop movements, on the vessels they're on. So what a wonderful find on eBay. I only wish I could find my dad's letters from World War II.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, my next story takes us out to England, where they're searching for another lost king.
Oh, boy. Is he under a parking lot again?
No, actually, this one is St. Edmund, and he's supposedly located under a tennis court.
Oh, of course. Of course.
After the dissolution of the monasteries and many of the cathedrals under Henry VIII, the abbeys were destroyed. Well, he was buried there and had a little bit of a shrine, but they believe that the shrine may still be buried under this tennis court in Bury St. Edmunds, England. So who knows? We might have a king that was far earlier, from 855 to 870 AD.
Wow.
An old Saxon king.
That's incredible.
Well, talking about older people in England, of course, next month will be the 96th birthday of the Duke of Edinburgh. And he has been really active alongside the Queen for years. And actually, since 1952, he's had over 22,000 personal engagements that he's attended. Here's the catch. He's going to retire.
Well, that's really good, and I don't think anybody's going to get angry at him about this.
No, I mean, actually, it's a little early when you compare to some of the stories we've talked about in the past couple of years about people working into over 100 or getting a new job at 100 or start going back to where they first worked. So my hat's off to the Duke of Edinburgh for his longevity and his longevity in service to the crown. One of the stories that I think is interesting is that occasionally we all make mistakes. And the family of Alice Dunn had to deal with her passing recently. And of course, it's very tough and you have to go through the funeral. The problem is the Swanson Funeral Home in Flint, Michigan made a mistake.
Ooh, what did they do?
Well, it was Alice's clothes on another deceased person in the casket.
Oh.
And yeah, they put the wrong clothes on the wrong body and set it up for the wrong funeral.
Oh.
They did get it correct. They didn't lose Alice, but her family was a little perplexed because it looked nothing like her.
Well, it's funny how that works, though, sometimes. And I can understand the funeral home saying, oh, no, that's her. Because sometimes when somebody has been, shall we say, fixed up for the funeral, they don't look like themselves.
Well, I always would go to a funeral, and I love when people look at, they look so good. Yeah. My mother would say, they're dead.
Yeah, they're still dead. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. Our blogger spotlight this week is familysearch.org/blog/en. And this is a wonderful blog brought to you by Family Search. And recently they talked about how to get started with indexing online. As many of you know, Family Search relies upon the volunteer help of thousands upon thousands of people to get all the wonderful images indexed online for free. So you can find out how to be involved in their Family Search indexing right there on blog post from May 1st.
Nice.
That's about all I have for this week, but I do want to remind you that if you want to become a member of AmericanAncestors.org for the New England Historic Genealogical Society, use the checkout code EXTREME and save $20 on membership. Catch you live from Raleigh, North Carolina next week, everyone.
All right, David, thanks for coming on. Good to talk to you. And just a reminder, if you haven't done so yet, get on our website, extremegenes.com, and get signed up for our weekly Genie newsletter. We send it out every Monday morning. It's chocked full of information, interviews, links to great stories, and a column from me every week. So we'd love to have you as part of our community there. Also, of course, on Facebook and our Extreme Genes website. And coming up next, I'm going to talk to Paul Woodbury from LegacyTree.com. He's their DNA specialist. This past week, I sent out 3 Y-chromosome tests, as I mentioned, concerning guys. And it occurred to me, wait a minute, my wife's in a mitochondrial line. That's where you could actually do a test of female to female to female back to her second great-grandmother. But Paul told me off the air that might not be the best way to go. So we're going to talk to him about some strategies involving DNA coming up next in 3 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show.
Did you know that Family Search Family Tree is available through a powerful new mobile app experience? That's right. Now you can view, edit, and even add information to ancestors in your family tree whenever and wherever you are. You no longer need to wait to get home or make a date with your computer to view or update your family tree. You can add details to your tree when visiting with family or when capturing details from a trip to the cemetery. You can share new family history discoveries from classroom settings. You can even make the most of your time when waiting for doctor appointments or car repairs. Get started today by downloading the free Family Search Family Tree app to your Apple or Android device. Visit familysearch.org/tree app to get the Family Tree app for free. Exploring and expanding your family tree has never been more convenient. Visit familysearch.org/tree app to download the Family Search Family Tree mobile app today.
Legacy Tree Genealogist is a proud sponsor of Extreme Genes. Based in Salt Lake City, Utah, near the world's largest family history library, we've been working with genealogists all over the globe since 2004 to track down records, find your ancestors, and the stories that bring your legacy to life. We also analyze DNA test results, help you join lineage societies, and find missing cousins or heirs to property. Legacy Tree is the recommended research partner of MyHeritage.com and is the world's highest client-rated genealogy firm. Call us toll-free at 1-800-818-1476. Call now or register online to get a free estimate. Learn from our free genealogy tips on our blog at legacytree.com/blog. Even experienced researchers can benefit from our proven and experienced staff of specialists who can bring new approaches to old problems. Legacy Tree Genealogists. We do the research. You enjoy the discoveries. legacytree.com.
Extreme Genes is sponsored in part by 23andMe.com, a personalized genetic service that helps you understand what your 23 pairs of chromosomes, your DNA, say about you. 23andMe.com gives you a snapshot view of your DNA with more than 60 detailed reports on your health, traits, and ancestry, plus tools to explore and compare your DNA with family and friends. 23andMe.com is the first and only genetic service available directly to you that includes reports that meet FDA standards. Here's how it works. Order your DNA kit from 23andMe.com. Provide your saliva sample from home and mail it back to a CLIA-certified lab. Then you'll be notified when your reports are ready online. You'll also receive ongoing reports as new genetic discoveries are made and as 23andMe.com is able to clear new reports through the FDA. See why more than 1 million people are experiencing their genetics with 23andMe.com. Order your DNA kit today at 23andMe.com.
Got to tell you, I love talking DNA. It is Extreme Genes, America's family history show, and extremegenes.com. It is Fisher here, your radio root sleuth, and this segment of the show is brought to you by myheritage.com. And I have my good friend Paul Woodbury on the line from legacytree.com. And Paul, we got talking off the air the other day. There's a lot of stuff we got to cover. First of all, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You know, this past week, I just sent out 3 Y-DNA tests to different cousins. One was a fifth cousin down one line, another from a fourth cousin down another line, and another to my wife's uncle to make sure, as you mentioned, you know, you preserve the older folks' DNA, and that name line has always been something of a problem for us. But then as I was thinking about this, it occurred to me, well, wait a minute, my wife is in a mitochondrial kind of situation. We have a second great-grandmother in her line that we haven't been able to connect to parents. We have a sister to this woman, we have a brother to this woman, but we could never find through any of these 3 kids the names of the parents. So I thought, hey, mitochondrial. We could have my wife do it. Even my daughter could do it to try to link to it. But you had some great insight on it, and I thought maybe today we would talk about that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to discuss that.
So do you use mitochondrial DNA testing very often?
I don't. And the reason why is because it's kind of been put on the back burner to autosomal DNA testing and Y-DNA testing. And there are a few reasons for that. First, with Y-DNA testing, you have a direct line paternal inheritance pattern. And that pattern often follows the same pattern as surname inheritance in a lot of Western cultures. And so by doing Y-DNA testing, a lot of the times you can get insight into the origins of the surname and following that direct paternal line. So a lot of people use Y-DNA testing. With autosomal DNA testing, you can connect with cousins within the last 8 to 10 generations,
right,
and explore how you're related that way. With mitochondrial DNA, there are a few things that make it a little bit difficult to work with. First, the mitochondrial DNA is inherited along that direct maternal line, like you said. And because of that, the surnames that you're looking at change every generation.
Every one, that's right.
And so that can get really complicated quite fast. The other challenge is that traditionally in genealogical research, as you get further back in the records, it just happens to be that there are a lot more times information regarding the men, particularly in the U.S. and in some of the British colonies, because women did change their name to their husband's surname. It can be really challenging to trace that maternal line. It's a little bit easier in some of the Spanish and Italian and Latin cultures because a lot of the times the women did keep their names throughout their lives,
sure.
So it's a little bit easier to trace them that way. But with mitochondrial DNA, a lot of the times it's hard to make those connections from mother to daughter to mother to mother to mother. So it's an underutilized source. Now, the other challenge with mitochondrial DNA testing is that currently the largest database of mitochondrial DNA samples is at Family Tree DNA. But even then, that database is significantly smaller than the Y-DNA database and the autosomal DNA database. And I think that it's an untapped resource in a lot of ways. I think if more people did mitochondrial DNA testing, it could eventually get to the point where it could be really, really useful for these situations where we're searching for potential ancestors and we're looking for connections. That approach, I like to call it going fishing.
Right.
You take your DNA test and then you see what you get back, right?
Right, absolutely. But if there's nobody else playing the game, if there are no other fish in the pond, you can't snag them.
Yeah, and that's part of the challenge. And that always is a challenge with Y-DNA testing and with mitochondrial DNA testing. You can usually have quite a bit of success in going fishing with autosomal DNA tests, because the databases are so huge that you can usually connect with people through autosomal DNA. Even with Y-DNA, depending on the surname and the specific Y-DNA you have, you may get lucky and be able to go fishing and get some good fish from your Y-DNA test.
Right.
With mitochondrial DNA, I haven't run across it too often that you take the mitochondrial DNA test and it helps to solve a genealogical problem or to extend that line back. And I have found a few cases where we've taken a mitochondrial DNA test and it has served to confirm to a certain extent in the family tree. So, for example, they were trying to find out, who was the mother of my 4 times great-grandmother along the direct maternal line, and we took the mitochondrial DNA test, and they got some matches, and we confirmed that she was descended from the 3rd great-grandmother, but we weren't able to go back the generation before that. In another case, I ran into a similar situation where we were trying to connect an ancestor from Australia back to England, and we were able to confirm the descent line within Australia, but we weren't able to make that jump back to England with the mitochondrial DNA test results.
So largely, then, it's a matter of there just aren't enough people playing, and it's almost like a self-perpetuating situation. Well, if there aren't enough people in there, I'm not going to do the test. Right? And when other people don't do the test, then fewer other people will take the test, right?
Yeah, it does make things difficult. I think with Y-DNA and particularly with mitochondrial DNA, you can have successful research resolution when you have a targeted question.
Right.
So, for example, there was a case that I worked on for a man who was trying to determine, first of all, was his 4th great-grandmother the child of this particular couple? And we had another descendant of that couple that he had identified, so we tested them both. They both had the same mitochondrial DNA, and that confirmed with the traditional evidence that, yes, this woman, his 4th great-grandmother, was a child of this couple. So it's really in those types of situations when you can use mitochondrial DNA to its fullest advantage, because you're setting up an experiment. You're saying, okay, if I test this person and I test this person and they share mitochondrial DNA, it provides evidence of their shared relationship with these individuals.
But you think about the money that has to be spent on these tests, and I've never bought a mitochondrial test. What do they run around? Do you know?
So there are 2 levels of mitochondrial DNA testing at Family Tree DNA. The basic level is $59, and the full mitochondrial sequence is $199.
Wow. Okay. So basically, if you were to look into doing this without essentially throwing your money away, it would be good to know that you've got somebody that you're trying to match up to. Would you agree with that? Either somebody whose information is already banked or someone you're working with on the problem who's agreed to do the test at the same time you do.
Absolutely.
And otherwise, you're basically saying, well, I'm going to put my information out there and hope that somebody comes along someday and matches me and we can figure this thing out.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I would also say, though, that mitochondrial DNA testing can be helpful for when it's used in conjunction with autosomal DNA test results.
Sure.
To narrow the possibilities of how you could be related to somebody. If you are sharing enough DNA to be a second cousin once removed, and yet you don't share common mitochondrial DNA haplogroups, then that can help eliminate potential relationships within your respective family trees.
And that would be where an expert like you would come in to help analyze it, right? Because I don't think most people generally have that kind of knowledge.
Yeah, I could do that. I do that sort of thing every day.
Sure.
But yeah, that's something that you could hire an expert to kind of take a look at and really identify what possible relationships could explain your shared DNA.
You know, the bottom line is you got to be a passionate genie to do some of this stuff because it is expensive.
That is true. I will add that you can get some information regarding mitochondrial DNA through 23andMe and their test. So if you're interested in just kind of getting the general idea of what are the haplogroups that you belong to, you can find that information by testing at 23andMe, and then you also get the added benefit of having the autosomal DNA test results with that.
Right, so you'd have to work through at least a couple of companies, right?
Yeah, so another thing that mitochondrial DNA can be really helpful for is looking at ethnicity. If you have a family story of your great-great-great-grandmother being a Native American or possibly African American or being of a specific ethnicity, because mitochondrial DNA follows this direct inheritance pattern and goes intact from generation to generation, there are some mitochondrial DNA signatures that are unique to very specific ethnicities. For example, if you have mitochondrial DNA that belongs to haplogroups A, B, C, D, or X, it could be indicative of Native American ancestry along your direct maternal line. Also, if you have a mitochondrial DNA haplogroup L, that indicates that you have an ancestor along your direct maternal line that was from Africa.
Huh.
So there are some very unique sequences that you can use to explore the location where your ancestors may have come from. So there's some really cool things that you can do with mitochondrial DNA in exploring ethnicity and origins along that direct maternal line. But for genealogical research, right now it's a little bit of a challenge to use.
Wow. All right. Lots of great advice as always, Paul. Always great to have you on. In fact, I do want to continue with some of those most common DNA questions that you've been getting the next time we get you on the show. All right?
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Talk to you again soon. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Well, you know, we have a long-running tradition on Extreme Genes of finding ordinary people who are making extraordinary finds and having extraordinary experiences. And one of those people is Carrie Christos. She's in Cincinnati, Ohio, and she's been working on her husband's side and has been having a big, fat Greek genealogy experience. We'll tell you more about that coming up next in 5 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show.
Scientific studies have proven that youth who know even a little bit about their family history perform better academically and have a greater sense of personal confidence and stability. Genealogy is its own incredible superpower that arms our children with super strength. But how do you get your child or grandchild interested in studying their family history? That kind of stuff is just for grandmas, right? Not anymore. ZapTheGrandmaGap.com leaps the generation gap in a single bound. Author Janet Hovorka provides you with useful and timely advice on helping the young people in your life become engaged in their own family history. Janet has an entire collection of books to inspire the young and the young at heart in fun, interactive ways. She also offers creative tips and advice on her blog and in her free weekly newsletter. Stop by ZapTheGrandmaGap.com today to sign up for Janet's free email newsletter with 52 weeks of easy tips, free downloads, and order your set of resource books and workbooks. Looking for an easy way to show off your family history and share it with your family? Family Chart Masters offers beautiful custom pedigree art pieces and inexpensive family reunion draft charts in any design or size that fits your needs. With a free consultation at FamilyChartMasters.com, you can get started creating a new family masterpiece. Family Chart Masters has over 11 years of experience in creating and printing family charts. They can print any style of genealogy chart from any genealogy file and can create exactly what you're looking for. You'll work with a specialized and talented consultant whose goal is to make you happy. Decorative charts make fantastic gifts for all occasions. And with Family Chart Masters' option of ordering duplicate charts at half price along with your original purchase at full price, you can afford to give a family heirloom to each member of your family. Contact Family Chart Masters today at FamilyChartMasters.com for your free consultation. Family Chart Masters will give the greatest care to your family history.
welcome back to America's Family History Show. It is Extreme Genes and ExtremeGenes.com. It is Fisher here, your radio root sleuth, and this segment is brought to you by 23andMe.com DNA. You know, it's always fun to talk to people, ordinary people, who make extraordinary finds, and it's amazing the things that happen in their lives. And I have one of those people on the line with me right now. She's Carrie Christos. She's been working on not only her own lines, but her husband's. And Carrie, you've been having some real good experiences, haven't you?
Yes. I've learned so much about doing Greek research through my experience, and it's just been great.
Now, you're in Cincinnati, Ohio. I used to work in Cincinnati, Ohio years ago on a radio station there. And the one thing that I took from it when I left the area was it's the only place in the country where if somebody misunderstands you, they go, please? I don't hear that any place else except Cincinnati.
You're right. You got it nailed.
So how long have you been researching, Carrie?
I started when my children were born. So my oldest is 8, and right after that I became very interested in doing genealogy. I did a lot of it myself, but I hired legacy tree genealogists to do some of the harder stuff.
Yes.
And they were able to help me with my mom's side and my dad's side, and now my husband's side.
Yeah, and this really kind of goes back. Now, not as far as your husband's line went. He didn't go that far, as I understand it, to begin with. So you had to crack some fairly recent brick walls to get back there. But Greece is a fantastic place to research.
Yeah, it is. So my father was kind of a second generation, and my husband, his father died 3 years into our marriage. And so I really didn't get a chance to ask my father-in-law too much. And my father-in-law's father died in 1955, and he left us almost no information. So I was feeling pretty disconnected from the Greek family situation. People would meet me, and they would say, so it's like my big fat Greek wedding. And I would say, well, no, not really. So I wanted to learn more.
Sure, because you didn't know any of the people. The big fat Greek wedding was all about all the huge extended family that would attend, but you didn't know anybody.
Yep. Exactly. My father-in-law had some older people, but once everyone died off, no one could really answer any questions.
So did you know where he was from in Greece?
Yes. Family is from a town originally it was called Levetseva, and then coincidentally the town got named Krokis. I'm not sure of all the reasons why, but right now it's called Krokis, Greece. And
so how was the wall finally broken?
When I got my project back from Carolyn, our goal was to find out if my husband's grandfather had any brothers or sisters, and also confirm the names of the parents. And we were definitely able to do that. But when I got the names of the brothers and sisters, I didn't really know what to do with that information. And I learned that some of the families had stayed in Greece, and another one actually tried to come to America and got deported. And then that was the family that ended up in Australia. And so I didn't really know what to do with the information, and I kind of just set it aside. And so eventually you went over to Carolyn Tolman at Legacy Tree. She was able to help you do something with that? So I got my binder back from Carolyn, and what I did is I actually had contacted previously a guy on Facebook by the name of Nikos Christakos. That was one of the uncles of my father-in-law, and I thought maybe he could have been the right person. He was in the same area, and he lived in the same place. Sure. Yeah, I didn't really hear anything back. So after I set it aside for several months, I went back into Ancestry.com, and I plugged in the names of the families. And I was really surprised to get an exact match of the date and birth of my father-in-law's first cousin. It wasn't the Nikos Christakos, but it was someone else. But that's a different name than yours. Now, your name is Christos, so it was shortened, obviously. Yeah, so, and actually, I should have said that earlier. So that was the one piece of information that I did get to ask my father-in-law before he passed. He was very certain that the name used to be Christakos. So I knew that kind of going in, and it's still kind of weird, to think our name was Christakos, but I did know that piece of information. Sure. Lots of people, though, have had their name changed over the years, and sometimes many times in a straight line. So you reached out to make contact? And I didn't hear anything back. And then one day, several months later, Nikos Christakos finds my message on Facebook. And he is not the Nikos Christakos that I'm looking for, but he actually knows all the people in the village. So he said, I'm not the right person, but I actually know all the people. So I gave him some information so that he knew I was for real.
Right.
Like, he came back a couple days later, and he gave me the phone number of my husband's second cousin.
Oh, wow.
I spent a month trying to find them in America because Ancestry.com indicated that they might have been in America, and the reason why I couldn't find them is because they had moved back to Greece.
You were able to reach him?
I called. I built up the nerve. I changed my calling plan so that I could call Greece, and the phone disconnected not once but several times. He kept answering, and so I thought, well, I'm going to not give up. He speaks English, and I had heard that he spoke English, but we weren't really connecting. So he handed the phone to his wife, and we hurried up to try to, collect email addresses, and she asked me if I had a Facebook account, and so we were able to, connect, and then eventually end up talking through that.
That's exciting. So you did some Facebook talks or just exchanging messages?
Yeah, just through Messenger. Everything was really, she was super nice, but everything was very piecemeal. And I couldn't quite tell if it was a culture thing. I don't know what it was, but I was just trying to be nice without being too pushy because I had a million questions that I wanted to ask.
So what have you learned about the family in Greece and your history there?
Well, I know that the third cousin, I guess it would be, one of the fathers and the grandson lives in Crokes, and they have an olive grove. And so when we finally did meet face-to-face, we got a bottle of olive oil, which I thought was really, really special because it just, it was like something tangible that could serve as a connection or a token of our new found relatives, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. How did they feel about this? Were they excited?
I think that they were really excited. And actually, I learned from the second cousin's wife that her son had also been at the same time trying to find out information. He's about 29, 30, and he was also trying to find information about the family as well. And so, it was just kind of the whole thing was so coincidental. And how we met, they came to the United States because he was trying to sell olive oil here in the United States.
Huh.
And they were in Chicago because the mom has relatives in Chicago not on the dad's side, but on the mom's side. And she was visiting, but Chicago is 5-6 hours away from Cincinnati. And she didn't know that I had a trip planned to go to Indianapolis for spring break with my family just for a couple of days. It was so ironic because she asked, can we meet halfway between Chicago and Cincinnati? And I was just blown away by just the whole coincidence of the whole thing and how it really worked out. It was amazing.
I think we call that serendipity in the business.
Yes.
Yeah, it happens all the time. Are you going to go to Greece?
I would love to. We went for our honeymoon, and I think when the kids get a little bit older, we will do that. And it will be very, very nice to know that we have people there that we can visit.
And you can get your big fat Greek reception there, I would assume.
Maybe that would be pretty. That would be pretty great.
That's awesome. Well, Carrie, congratulations. How long have you been researching now?
Thank you. For about, almost 9 years.
9 years. That's great. And I know Carolyn is a terrific researcher, so I'm glad she was able to help you out. Hey, thanks for sharing your story with us, and good luck going forward. I hope you have a great experience over in Greece one of these days. Take the kids.
Yes, we will. It was great to talk to you. Thank you.
Hey, that's what it's all about, and those kind of coincidences happen all the time. Hey, coming up next, we're going to talk to Tom Perry from tmcplace.com. He's our preservation authority. He's going to talk to you about repairing photos through instructional videos. We'll direct you to a couple of them, and a lot more coming up next in 3 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show.
You know, everybody needs a place of their own to plant their family tree, preferably one that no one else can mess with and only you can control. That perfect place is Roots Magic. Roots Magic has been a family history standard for years, and now Roots Magic 7 is on the market. It's an award-winning genealogical software program which makes researching, organizing, and sharing your family history easy. You can start from scratch or import data from other software or even Family Search. Roots Magic also automatically finds records relating to your ancestors from MyHeritage, Family Search, and soon Ancestry and Find My Past. You can use it to create beautiful charts, reports, and books. And have you ever thought about making your own family history website? Roots Magic can make that happen too. And of course, there are free videos, guides, and technical support to help you along. Isn't it about time you planted your family tree? Whether you're a beginning genie or experienced professional, Roots Magic is the perfect tool for you.
Extreme Genes is sponsored in part by 23andMe.com, a personalized genetic service that helps you understand what your 23 pairs of chromosomes, your DNA, say about you. 23andMe.com gives you a snapshot view of your DNA with more than 60 detailed reports on your health, traits, and ancestry, plus tools to explore and compare your DNA with family and friends. 23andMe.com is the first and only genetic service available directly to you that includes reports that meet FDA standards. Here's how it works. Order your DNA kit from 23andMe.com. Provide your saliva sample from home and mail it back to a CLIA-certified lab. Then you'll be notified when your reports are ready online. You'll also receive ongoing reports as new genetic discoveries are made and as 23andMe.com is able to clear new reports through the FDA. See why more than 1 million people are experiencing their genetics with 23andMe.com. Order your DNA kit today at 23andMe.com.
Well, genies, my personal family history researcher who sends me new information day and night has sent me some incredible new records and newspaper stories lately. Hi, it's Fisher, and the name of that researcher, by the way, is myheritage.com. It's the hardest working service in genealogy, looking for records of your family 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yes, even while you're sleeping. How does it work? MyHeritage uses hundreds of algorithms to match your ancestors to over 5 billion records from around the world, and with 97% accuracy. That means no more wasting time figuring out whether or not a match really is a match. I hear from listeners all the time who are shocked with how much information is accurately found and then passed along. And now MyHeritage will translate your ancestors' names into English or any other language you like from foreign records. In fact, it works with over 40 languages. No one else does this. Whether you're a beginner or seasoned researcher, you need myheritage.com. And it is time to talk preservation on Extreme Genes, America's family history show, and extremegenes.com. It is Fisher here, your radio root sleuth. Tom Perry is in from tmcplace.com, our preservation authority. Hi, Tom. How are you?
Super duper. Thank you.
And this segment is brought to you by rootsmagic.com. And it's time to talk about preserving photographs digitally, Tom. And you've got some great stuff here that I see you smiling already. He's the mad scientist. You found some new things that are going to be of benefit.
Oh, it's so cool. I mean, we've talked about digital darkroom and Photoshop, how those are great programs to get into to fix your pictures. And I've just put up on my Twitter account where you can actually go to a link. I don't want to try to give it to you over there because it's a long link.
Right. We'll put it on extremegenes.com.
That'll be perfect. And what's so cool about this is you actually see somebody on the computer and they're doing it. They have a picture, I'm guessing, from probably the late 1800s. You can see it's periodized. But it's been folded, it's really damaged, and you can actually watch what he's clicking on. So he's clicking on like a healer tool, and you can see how he goes in and he heals where where there's kind of like a crack through it. So what you do is you take whatever's missing and replace it with usually something right next to it.
That's right.
And it's going to be gradient, so it's fine. So it shows you how he takes the healer tool, as they call it, and goes in and measures out the part that's bad, over samples a little bit, then moves it up to the top part, then copies that and puts it back in that area and then smooths it out. And it looks like it was always supposed to be like that.
Exactly. And, I do this a lot. In fact, I do it for a lot of my family members who'll send me something. And it's one of those things you do at like 6 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. You wake up, everybody's asleep. It's, I'm going to fix that picture. and I did this for some cousins in Connecticut not long ago with a really beat up picture. But the joy of it is when you go in and you learn just a couple of these tools. There's the healing tool, and there's also one that's a cloning tool. In essence, you find something nearby that's It's the same color and texture, and you just go over those areas with it. And even with just those two things, you can do so much. And if you make a mistake, it's no big deal. You just do a Control-Z, and it undoes what you just did. And you can undo many, many times. So you can try something, and if you keep going into it and trying to make it better and better, and then it doesn't work, you can undo the whole thing and go back and start all over again, right up to the point that you wanted to pick it up.
And that's a wonderful thing that you mentioned that. So you want to make sure if this is your first time into one of these programs, you go into preferences and it'll let you pick how many undos you want to do. And I always set mine to the maximum because I like to experiment.
Yes, you want to be able to do it all the way to the end, basically.
Exactly.
I want to undo the whole thing.
Exactly. And that's just so awesome to do stuff like that. And when you're watching this video that we're going to post up there for you, like you say, you only need a couple of tools. Like you can get in a great big Escalade and you can see all these buttons and all these things. And like, oh my gosh, I can't drive this because I don't know what all these buttons do. Well, no. When you get into Photoshop or Digital Darkroom, learn 2 or 3 tools and just go in there and mess around. And the thing is not like, oh, I don't want to do my good picture until I learn how to do this. Why not? You can undo it. You're not going to hurt anything. You always do a save as, or you've always got your original.
Right.
And go in and play with the healing tool and the cloning tool. And as you'll see on this video, then once he gets done, you think, oh, it's all done. That looks so cool. Then the doctor, mad scientist really comes out and he colorizes it.
Right.
And so you can see how he goes and chooses the whole face and uses different tones and textures them and goes step by step by step by step. And just watching him in a slower motion is going to teach you so many things.
And I haven't learned to colorize yet. That's something I haven't gotten to. But the point is you can grow with this and watch these videos. They're available all over the place. And we'll share that at extremegenes.com. So make sure you check that out.
So go watch this video, learn a lot of things from it. And as you just mentioned, go to YouTube and download a whole bunch of training things, too, that they're all free.
All right. Coming up next in 3 minutes, Tom, what are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about some upcoming events and some places that might be in your backyard where you can get your film transferred properly.
On the way on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show.
Looking for an easy way to show off your family history and share it with your family? Family Chart Masters offers beautiful custom pedigree art pieces and inexpensive family reunion draft charts in any design or size that fits your needs. With a free consultation at FamilyChartMasters.com, you can get started creating a new family masterpiece. Family Chart Masters has over 11 years of experience in creating and printing family charts. They can print any style genealogy chart from any genealogy file and can create exactly what you're looking for. You'll work with a specialized and talented consultant whose goal is to make you happy. Decorative charts make fantastic gifts for all occasions. And with Family Chart Masters' option of ordering duplicate charts at half price along with your original purchase at full price, you can afford to give a family heirloom to each member of your family. Contact Family Chart Masters today at FamilyChartMasters.com for your free consultation. Family Chart Masters will give the greatest care to your family history.
When was the last time you heard your grandmother's voice or saw your family enjoying life back in the 1950s or 60s? If the reason is you haven't known what to do with your old recordings, videos, and films, here's your answer. The Multimedia Center in Salt Lake City.
We brought in a video project to the Multimedia Center, and overnight they duplicated it to DVD so we could meet our deadline.
The Multimedia Center, 2870 East, 3300 South, Salt Lake City. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6. Call 801-483-1717 or go to transferduplication.com.
Extreme Genes is sponsored in part by 23andme.com, a personalized genetic service that helps you understand what your 23 pairs of chromosomes, your DNA, say about you. 23andme.com gives you a snapshot view of your DNA with more than 60 detailed reports on your health, traits, and ancestry, plus tools to explore and compare your DNA with family and friends. 23andme.com is the first and only genetic service available directly to you that includes reports that meet FDA standards. Here's how it works. Order your DNA kit from 23andme.com. Provide your saliva sample from home and mail it back to a CLIA-certified lab. Then you'll be notified when your reports are ready online. You'll also receive ongoing reports as new genetic discoveries are made and as 23andme.com is able to clear new reports through the FDA. See why more than 1 million people are experiencing their genetics with 23andme.com. Order your DNA kit today at 23andme.com 23andme.com.
Genies, it's Fisher with exciting news. The Weekly Genie, the official newsletter of Extreme Genes, is here. It's your Monday morning briefing on what's happening in the world of genealogy and family history and on Extreme Genes. Get all the details of jaw-dropping stories of discovery and keep up with the latest techniques in family history research. Get to know more about your favorite Extreme Genes personalities. And it's free. Sign up for the Weekly Genie now at extremegenes.com or the Extreme Genes Facebook page. And when you do, you'll receive David Allen Lambert's top 10 tips for beginning genealogists from the chief genealogist of the New England Historic Genealogical Society. Sign up today for the Weekly Genie. And we are back. Final segment of Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show, and extremegenes.com. Fisher here, your radio root sleuth, with Tom Perry, the Preservation Authority from tmcplace.com. And Tom, you're talking about some local places that do it right, and you've been searching a little bit. What did you discover?
We talk about the questions that you need to ask. This place I'm going to recommend for you right now, we've asked them questions, they've answered them correctly. I haven't actually sent them anything to test them, but it seems like they really do your film properly. It's called Roots Family History is the name of the store, and they have one in Boise, Idaho, and one in Brooklyn, New York, which are awesome places. And then I found another one in a suburb of St. Louis called Cintrex, C-I-N-T-R-E-X, A-V. It's super, super wonderful. So if those places are close to you, go and support your local businesses. If not, we're still happy to do it for you. But just make sure you always ask the right questions, because we really recommend you stay local as much as possible. Keep your money in your area, because that's the way to do things right. And also, there's a couple genealogy conventions coming up. There's one in St. George, Utah in the first part of September. Start looking forward to. And there's also one called the Western Pennsylvania Genealogy Society that's going to be August 30th through September 2nd. It's called Building Bridges to the Past, and it's a good one to go check if you're going to be in that area. If you have in your area one that's coming up that you work with the little societies, let us know so we can put it on the calendar. We have people that say to us when we're talking to them, oh, did you go to such and such a genealogy convention? Oh, we didn't even know it was there. And it's in your own backyard. So let us know. We'll do everything we can to help you promote it, because we're all about preserving the past and helping people get into it and get started.
Boy, that's all great information, and we will do that. We'll be posting that at extremegenes.com, on our Facebook page, on our Twitter page, and on yours as well at Ask Tom P on Twitter.
Exactly. And you can always ask me questions at asktom@tmcplace.com. But if you want a quickie, do the Twitter page, because then I can get back to you instantly. And it's really been a lot of fun. I've never been a big Twitter person till lately, but it's amazing how many people have come on. They ask questions. They send us links to things. And so please, if you have something going on, let us know on our Twitter page so we can let the world know and let the people in your backyard know that there's something cool coming up.
Now, Tom, I understand you have a little update on the solar panels we talked about recently. Fill us in.
Absolutely. They're doing some deals right now where they're starting off. They're doing GoFundMe projects to get their solar panels up and going. So what they're doing, they're offering right now up to 75% off if you pre-order. And if something goes south, you always get your money back. These guys that do the GoFundMe accounts are really, really good at making sure there's not fraud and stuff out there. So this is really good. I saw these people down at the CES show, so I know they're legit.
And just to remind everybody, these solar panels we're talking about are ways by which you can charge your devices out in the wilderness.
So you're for the camp out, like you're a big family reunion, say, oh, I'd love to be scanning, I'd love to be using my iPhone, I'd love to be sharing my things, but we're in the middle of nowhere and I can't plug into the pine tree.
Right. Well, now you kind of can.
Exactly. You can. Because they make little teeny solar panels the size of your iPad. They make ones that are a little bit bigger, but they're very portable. And you don't have to have all these different devices. They have like the USB ports right in the solar panel. So you take it out, put it out a little bit away from the tree, plug in your laptop, whatever you want to do, plug in your friend things, burn DVDs for people, share your stuff. So it's not like we're in the wilderness. We can't do this anymore.
Incredible stuff. Thanks so much, Tom. We'll see you again next week.
My pleasure.
Hey, that's a wrap for this week. Thanks so much for joining us. This segment has been brought to you by FamilySearch.org. And by the way, if you've missed any part of the show or you'd like to hear it again, don't forget the podcast comes out every Monday morning. You can catch that at extremegenes.com. It's on iTunes. It's on iHeartRadio. It's on TuneIn Radio. It's all over the place. So we'd love to have you join us there and catch up on some old episodes as well. Don't forget to sign up for our weekly Genie newsletter at extremegenes.com. It's absolutely free. That, too, comes out on Monday mornings. All kinds of great links to all kinds of great stories, techniques, past interviews, and my weekly column. Hey, don't forget to tell your friends about the show. Spread the word. We'll have some more great guests next week. We look forward to talking to you then. Take care, and remember, as far as everyone knows, we're a nice, normal family.